the Mays Business School Research Award. You have to have won the University's Association of Former Students Research Award. You have to have served as an editor or associate editor of a major journal in your discipline. You have to have also demonstrated significant contributions to the mentoring of junior faculty and PhD students. Those are the minimum requirements simply to be nominated. Once a person is nominated, their credentials are then screened first by the Mays Research Council. A recommendation is then given to the Mays to the Mays Executive Committee, and then finally they make a recommendation to the dean. So that's a substantial series of very challenging standards that one has to meet to get to this point. And certainly no one is more deserving of this recognition than Dr. Lynn Berry. His research record spans 45 years. His first major publication was in 1968. Lynn, I suspect that there are lots of people in the room that weren't born in 1968. I was actually a junior high school in 1968. But that is a testament to the amount of scholarship and the impact that Dr. Berry has had on his discipline. His research has been cited over 95,000 times. Not 95 times, not 950, 95,000 times, which again is a true indicator of the impact that he's had over the course of his career. And he's played a pioneering role in the establishment of 3 different research domains, something that most people don't accomplish one time in their career. He helped create and define the research domain known today as service marketing and service quality. He was a leader in the establishment of relationship marketing. And most recently, he's popularly known today for his work in the area of healthcare service. Truly, the magnitude and the breadth of his impact is beyond description. So it's my great honor and privilege to recognize Dr. Berry with the Mays Business School Lifetime Achievement Award for Scholarship and Research. Lynn?
Around 1980, Don Zale, then the CEO of the Zale Corporation, approached 3 Texas universities with an offer. And the offer was that we, Zale, would like to give you some money for a 3-year period in the hopes that you'll use that money to do something, quote, in retailing. He went to the University of Texas, personally. He went to SMU, personally. And he came to Texas A&M, our business school, personally. And said, here's the money. I hope you'll use it to do something in retail. Business schools are ignoring retailing. UT took the money. SMU took the money. Texas A&M took the money. To this day, Don Zale will tell you he has no idea what SMU and UT did with the money. What they didn't do was anything in retail. But we did. And that gift led our leadership at the time to begin a discussion about retailing and incorporating it into our program. And that discussion led to my being hired here. So one foresighted CEO challenged 3 universities. One university took him up on the challenge. And here I am. And I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be getting this award for sure. I wouldn't be on the faculty had it not been for Donald Zale. Thank you, sir. You and Barbara are very dear friends. I wasn't here when he made that original gift, but I think he probably had a wink in his eye that suggested that if you actually do something, there may be more on the way. We did, and there was. And some years later, the Zale Foundation made a $1 million endowment gift to create the chair, the MB Zale Chair in Retailing and Marketing Leadership, which I hold, named after Don's father. And many other gifts to the Mays Business School also, important gifts. I've divided my remarks today into 3 parts. The first part is I'm going to take you through 7 turning points in my career. And this is where I'll take most of my time in presenting. And it was fun to do this. I prepared these remarks for today, a very special day in my life. It was fun to look back and try to think, what was it that really were the turning points that changed the trajectory of my work, that made the most impact for me. The second section is I want to talk to you briefly about what it means to be a researcher and a writer. I'm going to address this issue briefly about research schools versus teaching schools. It's a very important topic. And finally, I'm going to talk to you about 3 brief lessons from my academic journey. We have some PhD students in the room, and so these lessons are particularly for them. So first, the turning points, and there's 7. In 1967, I faced Dr. Beatty's red pencil. Turning point number 1. The late Dr. Wayne Beatty was a business communications professor at Arizona State University when I was a doctoral student in the 1960s. He served on my dissertation committee, as he did many other doctoral committees, for the purpose of helping doctoral students improve their writing. At the time, I thought, I know how to write. I don't need Dr. Beatty. I was wrong. Dr. Beatty spent countless hours on the first draft of my dissertation. He shortened needlessly long sentences. He replaced inappropriate words. He wrote many explanatory notes and comments in the margins. My dissertation came back from him, my draft, a sea of red, which is where the red pencil comes in. On the first day, I was crestfallen. I'd worked really hard. I thought it was almost done. On the second day, I was angry. On the third day, I decided that Dr. Beatty was right. And on this day, the third day, I decided that I was going to become a good writer. Improving my writing skills has become a career-long journey because of one professor's investment in me many years ago. And one of the biggest thrills of my life, and there have been many, was in 1989 when I surprised Dr. Beatty. I just published a new book. I just had my first set of author copies arrive on my desk in my home. And I took one of those author copies and I put it in an overnight mail. He didn't know I was even writing a book. And I sent it to him. But I did one more thing. I dedicated the book to him with the words, "To Professor Wayne Beatty of Arizona State University, who more than 20 years ago inspired me to want to become a good writer." Dr. Beatty. Turning point number 2. It's 1972 now, and the ABA is on the phone. I completed my doctorate in 1968. I was at the University of Denver as an assistant professor. It was the early 70s then, and one day the phone rings. It was the American Bankers Association. I have no idea how they knew about me. I mean, I was a nobody, but they called me. Very few people called me in those days, but they called me. Very few people call me now. It's all email, as a matter of fact. It was the American Bankers Association on the phone, and they asked, would I be interested in teaming up with Professor Jim Donnelly from the University of Kentucky to write a book on bank marketing and to teach marketing to the banking industry. That industry was just beginning to discover marketing. I was interested. And I had not met Jim Donnelly, but I did, and we did it. We co-authored one of the very first bank marketing books ever published, called Marketing for Bankers. It was published by the American Bankers Association in 1975. And for the next several years, Jim and I traveled the country presenting marketing seminars to the banking industry. We eventually published 2 other books together. But most importantly, we developed a bond usually reserved for brothers, a bond that exists to this day, more than 40 years later. My friend Jim Donnelly and I talk on the telephone every single Sunday, and we have for 10 years. We never miss a Sunday, never. My work in financial services marketing in the 1970s paved the way for what was to come. Because when I was in the PhD program at Arizona State in the 60s, the field of services marketing did not exist. Not one time did a professor of mine ever utter the words services marketing. And it did not occur to me when I was a doctoral student, it did not occur to me that until I started studying financial services marketing after completing my doctorate, that services requires different ideas than marketing manufactured goods. When I was a doctoral student, marketing was marketing was marketing. Whether it was an intangible performance or it was a can of soup, we learned how to market